Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this special edition of Quick Strikes. My name is Michael Wax, here with my co-hosts Jake Ricker and Philip Wunderlich. And in this episode, Tampa Bay Lightning are 2020 Stanley Cup Champions, the best feeling in the world. But guys, how are you doing today?
There's no, there's really no words to put into this. The way that we feel. I know that everybody stayed up late last night and celebrating in their own way, and we all had a great time. I enjoyed the game, and we'll break it down for you here in a minute.
Phil, I got the words for you. We're the 2020 Stanley Cup Champions. Those are the words, baby. Let's go, all right? I've lost my voice. It's going to be gone again tomorrow as we go to the parade, which, by the way, be on the lookout for some parade footage coming your way. I got my championship hat. I got my T-shirt on. I'm ready to go. This is a huge moment. I'm so excited. This has been a long time in the making. We're Stanley Cup champions.
As you can tell, Jake has had some money to spend that we haven't yet. But we'll eventually get there, get some merchandise for Phil and I. But for now, Jake, congratulations. So we're going to do this one a little bit differently. Normally, we just go through the game, go with the goals, go with the saves, and talk about the game. But, guys, we're champions. Like, it doesn't matter how the game went. We won, and we won the Stanley Cup. So, let's firstly talk about the boy that is on my jersey right here, the Conn Smythe winner, Victor Hedman. I'd said this to Jake yesterday. I don't know if I said it to you, Phil, and I don't know if this is a hot take, and I don't care. The Conn Smythe has punched Victor Hedman's ticket into the NHL Hall of Fame, or the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I agree completely. He has a couple of Norris nominations. He's won the Norris once. He got the Conn Smythe last night. He has a Stanley Cup. So there's really no reason why he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. I know he's going to have a long career still going, but there's always ways to add to it.
Hedman is going to the Hall of Fame. There's almost no doubt in my mind at this point. And I may be a Bolts fan. Heck, I'd put every person on this team into the Hall of Fame if it were up to me. But, hey, Victor Hedman, such impressive stats, especially this season. This postseason, he had 10 goals in the postseason, and that was, I believe, the third most for a defenseman in a single postseason run. And the record holder is none other than Paul Coffey, a legendary defenseman. So, when you're up with names like that, there's no reason you shouldn't be a Hall of Famer. And now he's got a Stanley Cup as well. Obviously, he's still got a couple good years left in him, so there's a lot more he can do, but he's already done so much with his career. But just his numbers alone this postseason prove that he's one of the best defenders around there, and he did that all with such big ice time. I believe he was averaging 35 minutes per game, which is absolutely unbelievable, especially considering we had some 5 overtime games and constantly went into overtime to end these games.
Well, yeah, I think that there were two sort of stats that were inflated by the amount of overtimes that we went to, including the 5 overtime game. One of them was time on ice. I love Victor Hedman as much as the next guy. There's no way that guy was playing 35 minutes a night. It helped that he played like 50 or 60 or however many he played in the first game of the playoffs. That sort of helped with it. Also, Andrei Vasilevsky's save percentage finished with a .929. But if you take out the first game of the playoffs, he finished with a .925, which is still unbelievable. Major props to Vasilevsky getting a shutout, pulling a Ben Bishop, and clinching a series with a shutout, which is something that Ben did all the time. And unfortunately, Ben had it happen to his team this time instead of the other way around. Vasilevsky is the best in the world. We have the best goalie, we have the best forward in Kucherov, and we have the best defenseman in Victor Hedman. There's so much to talk about on this team. Was there a specific story from either Stamkos or Hedman or Palat or Johnson or any of these guys that really stood out to you guys when it came to them lifting the cup and being able to say, we finally did it?
Well, I feel like there's something to be said here about Vasilevsky. The last time a Russian goaltender won the Stanley Cup was 2004 with Habibulin, and that was that both times the Russian goaltender was a starting goaltender was for our Lightning. That's a crazy stat. And the way that they played in the Stanley Cup playoffs was unbelievable, and it's something to be said for all of them.
Man, Michael, you asked who stood out when I saw lifting that cup. Man, it's tough to say because I was so ecstatic at that point. I don't even remember half the players that raised the cup. But I got to go with Andre Palat. Palat, man, I think he was one of the most important players on the team this postseason. And, obviously the Conn Smythe's going to go to the Victor Hedmans, the Braden Points, Andre Vasilevskis of the team. But I think Palat, who has been an underrated Bolt for a very long time, made a huge step up when we needed him the most. He took over that power play spot for Steven Stamkos. And Michael, you made a video about when NBC said, I'd rather have Palat have the puck than Kucherov. And then you proceeded to show every single goal Andre Palat scored. And a lot of them were also on that power play. So Palat is the one for me. That guy, he's like I said, underrated Bull for a long time, but he really stepped up when the team needed him most. He had 10 goals this postseason, so absolutely impressive from him. He was phenomenal, and his face says it all when he lifted that trophy over his head.
Yeah, I'd just like to point out to NBC just one more reason that I just don't like that before the hockey season ends. Andre Palat outscored Nikita Kucherov in these playoffs, at least for goals. But you look at the amount of assists that Nikita Kucherov had, breaking the record for the most by a winger in NHL history on a postseason run. And many people would say, well, he did it because of the round robins. He actually played one less game than the guy that he surpassed. So that tells you how good, A, the Lightning have been, and B, Kucherov has been. And, there are so many comments that have come out of these, from these players and these coaches about the team and what last year meant to this year and how they matured as a group. And, big shout out to Julian Breezeball for not doing what a lot of people wanted him to do after the end of last year, tearing it down. Instead, he rebranded the team. And I know they talked about grit for like 95% of the NBC broadcast. We're only going to talk about it once here. But he got Maroon. He got Kevin Shattenkirk. He got Blake Coleman at the deadline. He got Barclay Goodrow at the deadline. Signed Zach Bogosian. Those 5 guys contributed tremendously to our team. So, shame that he didn't win the actual award for NHL GM of the Year, but the award for GM of the Year at the end of the day is the Stanley Cup, and Julian Breezeball is a Stanley Cup champion.
Yeah, like you said, JBB is the one that put all this team together. People were kind of criticizing him giving up a first-round pick for Barclay Goodrow, but look at what it came up to be. It's these moves that you have to make in order to become Stanley Cup champions. And people might say, oh, you did this, you did that. And it shows to be a good thing that he did that, because otherwise you wouldn't have the grit that you had in these playoffs.
Grit is the key word, I think, there, because you look at the guys he added, like Coleman, Goodrow, Paquette used to be the hits leader on this team every season, basically. And he was the 100 hits. Nobody else came close to it. When Goodrow and Coleman, those guys came on the team, they were right up there with Paquette in hits. They were really gritty players. Also, they were fantastic on the penalty kill. Those guys were always out there, always able to get pucks out of the zone. And I think that was a huge part. I mean, look at the special teams, this series, the Stars converted on their special team just one time. So that goes to show you how much of an impact those 2 players made just on the penalty kill alone.
Yeah, those guys were unbelievable. I remember one specific rush, and I'm so disappointed I didn't get this article out in time before the playoffs started. But Goodrow and Coleman were on penalty kill 1 against the Calgary Flames, and they had like 3 or 4 different shorthanded scoring chances. And then a couple of seconds later, straight after they got off the ice, Yanni Gord comes on and gets a shorthanded goal because the dam finally broke. It's those types of guys, those types of leaders that you need. Speaking of leaders, I know he only played 2 minutes and 37 seconds, but Steven Stamkos is a leader. You talked about at the end of Game 5 when the Lightning looked like they potentially were going to blow this series, even though they were still up 3-2. There was lots to talk about. We'd love to see the Lightning lose in 7. Steven Stamkos comes in the locker room. He says, "You guys are this close to raising the cup, and I know I can't help you, but you have to dominate in Game 6." And the Lightning came out and played their best game of the entire playoffs.
Yeah, you and I addressed this on the last episode of Quick Strike on how much Steven Stamkos leads that locker room. I mean, I said you can just have him on the bench for the whole game because that's what he gives you. He gives you the leadership. He gives you motivation on how to be a true hockey player and a champion.
He got his name on the cup. I'm so happy for him. It was very, very well deserved. I believe it was Jay Fresh, by the way, who tweeted out when Stamkos was officially ruled out for the rest of the series. Stamkos had the most goals per 60 minutes in the entire series, and that was mostly because he scored 1 goal in 2 minutes. But that doesn't matter because it's a huge accomplishment for him. And he, Michael, you mentioned his post-game speeches. He was amazing. He's so electric. The team just came alive. The team even before this series was talking about how he was a huge help for them in the bubble scenario where they're missing families. They're maybe getting antsy and wanting to get out of there. But Steven Stamkos, just the fact that he stayed in that bubble that whole time, he could have gone home. He could have gone home if he wanted to, but he didn't. He stuck with that. He didn't know they were going to make it to the finals. He stuck with the team. He kept, supporting them the whole way through, even though he didn't ultimately got to play, 3 shifts at the end of the day. And also real quick, Michael, before we get close to wrapping this up, I think Kucherov deserves a shout out for leadership as well, because his quote ended up being one of the best quotes around. He said, we're not here to break records. We're here to win a Stanley Cup. And that's exactly what they did. They got it done at the end of the day. Huge shout out. Also, speaking of quotes, by the way, Cooper also had a great quote. We're going home 35 pounds heavier. So love to see it.
You do love to see it. I was just going to bring up Kucherov because 5 years, you look at that picture from 2015, it's the most heartbreaking picture in the world of him looking at the Chicago Blackhawks celebrating. Come around 2019, that picture of Artemi Panarin trying to laugh at Kucherov still angers me. I'm not gonna lie, but when you see Kucherov raise the puck in 2020 or the cup in 2020, doesn't matter because we're Stanley Cup champions. This is the greatest feeling of my life. So far, it's one of the greatest moments of my life. I don't really know what we're supposed to talk about. I know the draft and free agency is coming up soon, but do we care about that? This is one of the greatest feelings ever, and I really hope that the city of Tampa enjoys the Cup Parade coming tomorrow, or what will be on Wednesday. Jake, I know you're going to have some content for us.
Absolutely.
Very much appreciate that. But guys, do we have anything else for this show?
No, but I want to say real quick, having the rope parade is so Tampa. It's great. Having everybody on the boats and watching them in the channel. I wish I could be there.
The boat parade is very Tampa-like, but it's great. I love it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. Michael, we're Stanley Cup champions. We did it. Take us home.
Man, I don't know if I can without getting tears in my eyes again. All right. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel and ring that bell for notifications, just like when Jake is going to get some content for us during the live parade. For Michael Wax, Philip Wunderlich, Jake Ricker, guys, this has been the Bay Bolts 2019-2020 season, which has lasted a full calendar year, not like we expected, but it's okay because we're Stanley Cup champions. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Bay_Bolts for all your news and notes, because the game recaps are done for now, once again, because We are Stanley Cup champions. I just can't say it over and over at this point because it still hasn't registered to me.
Keep saying it,
Stanley Cup
Michael. Just
champions.
keep saying it.
And guys, thank you for everything that you've done on this journey. We love you all, and we will continue making content for you in the off season. So again, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell, and we will see you probably for the draft, but I'm not sure. Have a good one, guys.
Go Wolves.